Now, the people have been clamoring for this variant of the Ford Ranger Raptor for years now, ever since this body type has been released, and I didn't get why. I mean, they wanted something that guzzles up gas like no one's business, but finally, I get it. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today we'll be testing out the Ford Ranger Raptor V6. On the outside, you wouldn't find anything different about this variant over the diesel variant, which is a good thing because people absolutely love the current generation Ford Ranger Raptor, myself included. First of all, you got your iconic FORD badge right here in front of the grille. It definitely looks pretty badass. There are a couple of third-party OEM markets out there who actually try to install that into their own Ford Rangers, even Ford Everest, and even other trucks for that matter. But this one right here definitely fits the bill to a T. You got these nice honeycomb grille inserts right here, adding a little bit more sportiness to the already badass look of the Ford Ranger Raptor. You got a 360-degree camera system right here, which is something you would definitely need. Trust me on that one, because of how large and massive this truck really is. You got the same C-shaped DRLs right here, kind of like a clamp covering these dual projector LED headlamps. You got LED fog lamps as well, and a huge bash plate underneath. It's not just a cover. It definitely is what they call it is. It's a bash plate. You got another camera on top of the front windshield right there. And of course, these vents right here. If you're wondering if these are functional vents, we're gonna pop up the hood later on for you to see. And I love how this nice new color scheme works with the Ford Ranger Raptor, but I want to know what you think. Heading over to the side profile of the Ford Ranger Raptor V6, you would find nothing that sets this apart from the diesel Ford Ranger Raptor and these huge 17-inch 285/70 R17 BF Goodrich off-road all-terrain tires. I mean, this is what most people would go after, and yeah, you definitely know you're bringing a Raptor if you got that. It doesn't have the same 37-inch tires from the Bronco or even the F-150 Raptor, but trust me, these things more than enough to take you going through the sands or maybe through a riverbed. It's definitely one capable tire. I love how the blacked out alloy wheels look. They're not glossy at all. They have this gunmetal look to it. And the Ford, and of course, the center cap is twistable so that you can go ahead and take nice pictures and videos of your Ford Ranger Raptor. So the Ford Ranger Raptor has 275 millimeters worth of ground clearance, which makes this a certified tall boy. But getting in and out of this is easy because of these chunky step boards. Now, because of the additional ground clearance, it also has additional wading depth. You get 850 millimeters of wading depth in this bad boy. And hey, I would advise against trying that out, but if you want to, you definitely can. Now, underneath each of these fenders behind these huge tires, you'd find one of its most important features, which I believe is pretty much worth the price of admission in itself. You got live Fox shocks on each end of these wheels. And oh boy, if you don't have any idea what these things are for, yeah, try going off-roading and you will definitely feel what they are. It helps articulate each of these wheels individually, so it adds a little bit more capabilities and comfort while going fast off-road. You got the same Raptor badge right here, four-wheel disc brakes. Right here in the back, again, you won't see any difference between the diesel and the V6 Raptor, except, of course, for these. Bam! We got dual exhaust ports on each end to help out with the exhaust, getting, of course, all those exhaust gases out of that V6 engine. Of course, adds a little bit more to this rugged, sporty look. I mean, yeah, these are huge. It's got active exhaust as well, so you can set the exhaust noise level inside. There are 4 different modes there. We'll be testing it out later on. So you got LED tail lamps right here. Of course, you got your Raptor badge, cameras right here, the blacked out Ford badge, knowing that you've got the top of the line, the special Ford vehicle right here, and of course, an assisted tailgate. So it's easy to put this up and down, in and out, no problems. So yeah, once you do have it down, you got your own bed liner right here, and you can put all your stuff in it. I probably wouldn't be using this to put in such heavier items because this is a sports car of trucks. Why would you want to use it for heavy items? Plus, you just be ruining those Fox shocks. Right here in the back, you got some tie down, some hooks in there, as well as some slots to put in some more items here. I mean, if you do want to use this for work related purposes, you can. And if you want to go overlanding or camping, you have a 230 volt power socket or outlet right there as well. All right, so we're not really going to talk too much about the interior of the Ford Ranger Raptor V6 because it has absolutely no difference except for a few updates from the regular diesel variant of the Ford Ranger Raptor. So you get the same leather seats, leather steering wheel. You got this red strip on top to know exactly where you're going. You got the orange bezels right here on the air conditioning vents. This huge touchscreen infotainment system that's vertically oriented with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Now, for the differences between this one and the diesel. This one you got Bang & Olufsen speakers right here, which definitely dishes out some great sounds, great tunes, but trust me, you would rather hear that exhaust note coming from that turbocharged V6 engine than anything else. Yeah, I'm not an audiophile myself, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not. I want to hear that exhaust note. So you still have these two-level what should I say, glove box right here, a shelf right there. You got your drive mode selector here. You've got multiple drive modes to work with: normal, sport, slippery, mud and ruts, sand, rock crawl, and Baja mode. All right, all that available right at your fingertips. Now, again, nothing much has changed here. The seats are still very comfortable. A bit, they're very supportive, sure, but they're not the softest around. But when it comes to seats anyway, you're not after softness, you're after support, and this definitely delivers. I love the look of the Raptor badge right there, more particularly, but this is probably the highlight of the interior for me: the different aux switches. So Ford knows that truck owners, especially those looking for the Ford Ranger Raptor, whether the diesel or the V6, they would want to customize their own trucks. And if you want to add some accessories, and there you go. This is probably my favorite feature still, this USB port behind the rear view mirror, so you can attach your own dash cam and you won't have to snake through anything else. Yeah, it's a blacked out interior. It's a Ford Ranger Raptor. This is definitely something that you've seen before, and I just want to reiterate that, yes, even it's with the V6 engine, it's even more compelling and more justified to have these loud and obnoxious trims right here and there. And these aux switches, yeah, they definitely have this nice switching sound, and we've been complaining about how everything is right here in the touchscreen. This is of no exception, but they made up for it with the sound coming from the aux switches. Again, you still have power seats for the driver and passenger, wireless charger. You know, this is getting old, but okay. You got this this French fries shelf right there that barely fits my phone anymore. Phones are getting bigger and bigger these days. And then you got the cup holders, electronic parking brake. Yep, Ford Ranger Raptor through and through. Let's take a look at the back. It's mandatory for me to check it out anyway. All right, so right here in the back, you have the same old Raptor goodness, which means you get an upright seating that you can't recline. Of course, it's a truck. Why would you want to get this so that you could ride there in the back? You have the same 230 volt power outlet right here, so you got another place for you to put in your laptop, your PS5, your TV. You can put it right there. 2 USB ports, one USB-A, USB-C. And one more thing about this is that it's got automatic up and down power mirrors, or windows, should they? Power windows for all passengers. With the diesel, it's only for the driver, but here you can get all fancy with a village security guard, no matter where you're sitting at. All right, so yeah, this is they got seats right here in the back. You got some space, even though I'm sitting behind my own driving position. That doesn't matter. We're going to take this out for a spin. I'm going to tell you more about how it drives, whether off-road or on-road. So let us go. All right, so we're now behind the wheel of the 2025 Ford Ranger Raptor with a V6 gasoline engine. And oh boy, Yes. You've got a 3-liter turbocharged V6 that makes essentially 400 horsepower, 391 horses under the hood, and you got 583 newton meters of torque, which is almost, like I said, almost double the power of the diesel, and so much more torque than the diesel as well. And the power delivery doesn't really is unlike a diesel where the power comes in at about 1,500 RPM. Here, peak power kicks in at 3,500 RPM. Now you might be thinking, well, it's so much higher up the rev range as compared to the diesel, but no, what that means is that you spread that power out and the power comes in so much more linearly that it just kicks you back into your seat and creates this aural sensation that you definitely would not want to miss out. That's what she said. But anyway, yes, this is something that you would want to try out for yourself. So you got electronic power steering right here, and it is a big hulking truck. In fact, one of the biggest trucks in its class, the mid-size pickup truck class. But the turning radius, it just wants to turn. It's not the closest, not the most narrow turning radius around, but oh boy, it's very agile if it wants to. And here we go. Here is the power of the V6. We're going to try this out in this open road. Remember, within... okay, that's... Ooh, if you hear that exhaust note, you can feel all the power coming in, yeah. So, if with the diesel, you feel the pull of the diesel, the torque pull, here the power comes in first before the pull, if you get what I mean. And that exhaust note just adds the flavor to an already meaty dinner, which is your Ford Ranger Raptor. By the way, like I said, you have 4 settings for the active exhaust. You got normal, sport, and silent. Yep. So there you go. You can actually set this up for silent. Imagine cold starting this thing in with your neighbor. Your neighbors are definitely going to hate you for this if you start cold starting this and it doesn't have that quiet mode. So working with those live Fox shocks, this is not your regular truck with those leaf springs or coil springs at that fact. You've got those really good live Fox shocks that work all around those 4 corners. I mean, that by itself should be worth the price of admission, apart from the V6 engine, because it just adds a little bit more value to the comfort, especially when going off-roading. Now on the highway though, yeah, it still feels a little bouncy inside, but not as much if you're bringing in a truck with a leaf spring. But this is the top of the line when it comes to shocks for pickup trucks, and this is something I really like. Well, the only downside with those Fox shocks though is maintenance. This is not a one-time dealie, so the price of admission might be high or steep, but trust me, maintaining this truck, keeping it the way it is, it's a commitment. It's definitely a commitment. And it doesn't have anything to do with the durability of the truck. That's just how it is when it comes to these types of activity and focus-driven pickup trucks. I call this a sports truck, and it definitely is what I call it. You have the same sound installation from the outside world. The only thing that you're probably going to hear if you're inside is definitely going to be the road noise from those tires. Those tires, being all-terrain tires, BF Goodrich, are just noisy AF, as Fraser. So yes, you can definitely hear a lot of that noise, especially on the highway. And this truck definitely has the aerodynamic coefficient, drag coefficient, as a barn door or as a brick. So it's really not that aerodynamic, but it's fine. It's definitely fun. It's a truck. You hear wind noise, road noise, but all of that doesn't matter because you hear that sound exhaust in the back, and that is quite a sensation indeed. We're not going to bring this out to a rocky place because 90%, 95%, or even 99% of your time with the Ranger Raptor you're spending here in the city, and I want to show you guys how it feels like in the city. You can watch other videos right there. They sent the Ranger Raptor out on some excursions, but this one here, I want to see how this works out as a city car, and as a city car, definitely a poggy city car. You guys want to know how much the fuel economy is on the Ford Ranger Raptor V6? Well, here it goes. Around the city, you got 5 to 6 kilometers per liter in the city, which, to be honest, if you think about it, really isn't that bad. I know a couple of 90s sedans with 1.6 liter engines that can do 6 kilometers per liter in heavy traffic. This one can do that, and you've got a 3-liter V6 under the hood, and you get all this fun, all the sound, all the noise of the V6. So yeah, it's definitely not bad. But when you do get out on the highway, it gets better. 10 kilometers per liter on the highway. Yeah, this is not really going to be something that I would suggest that you would use on a daily, although you could, and if you can, you should. Safety features pretty much the same as the Ranger Raptor diesel. You got your Ford Advanced Driver Assist systems. You got adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, lane departure warning. You got blind spot monitoring systems. You got your 360-degree camera system, proximity sensors all around, which is something you would need, especially when going through the urban jungle. Now, the 360 camera, they call that a surround view mode. Usually, they use that for going off-roading. In fact, if you go to Baja mode, this thing is on by default. So if you're on normal mode, you can turn this on. This will turn itself off. But if you're on Baja mode, it's not going to turn itself off, meaning it knows that you're traversing through different ruts, different rocks, uneven terrain, and it wants you to know exactly where you're going. But this one here is definitely very useful, especially when going through the urban jungle, especially going through the different obstacles, which are motorcycles, bicycles, other cars, pedestrians. Yes, you need everything that can help you to keep this thing safe. Pricing for the Ford Ranger Raptor with the V6 starts at, are you ready? 2,739,000 pesos. You heard that right, 2,739,000 pesos. Now, while there may be a small minority of you guys who think that is way too high, that's too damn high. So what are you getting out of this? You get power, you get presence, you got gravitas, you got off-road capabilities, and you can rest assured that this truck, the Ford Ranger Raptor V6, can get you wherever you need to be and back home in one piece. I keep saying that, but no other truck can I say that with utmost certainty than this truck right here. All right, so that's my full review of the Ford Ranger Raptor V6. It's big, it's loud, it drinks gasoline like no one's business. And if you're looking for a sports truck that you want to use every weekend, sure, you can go ahead with the diesel route. It's right there, but if you want to go out, why not go for the V6 instead? But I want to know what you think. Would you rather have the diesel or the V6? Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. This is Roy Roberts from Zigwheels.Ph.